In Connecticut, voters won't just be choosing between candidates for public office. They'll also have the chance to weigh in on an amendment to the state constitution. News 8 political contributor Mike Cerulli is live with the details on that. Mike.
Yeah, hi there, Ann and Darren. That proposed constitutional amendment would allow any Connecticut voter to cast their ballot through the mail. Now, currently, voters have to provide an excuse like sickness or being out of town in order to get one of those absentee ballots. But the success of this year's ballot question would change that. It's October in an election year, and that means the folks knocking on your door might not be trick-or-treaters. They could be political canvassers, perhaps from the campaign pushing a yes vote on the ballot question that would change the state constitution to allow any voter to vote via absentee ballot. Mel Medina organizes for a nonprofit advocacy group pushing for the measure.
We think Connecticut needs, and what most voters need, are just more options, and so we want to make those restrictions to go away so that most people can access them.
Making those existing restrictions go away is something Republicans balk at. The State House Republican leader said he supports the notion of no-excuse absentee ballot voting, but doesn't trust Democrats in the wake of the Bridgeport ballot scandal.
The Democrats have failed to prove themselves worthy of being able to implement no-excuse absentee balloting. We look at what has happened in Bridgeport, and they have failed to address the meat of the concern about how to cut down on fraud with absentee ballot voting.
For advocates like Medina, pushing back on concern about the security of absentee ballot voting is just part of the challenge. They also need to make voters aware of the measure in the first place.
The initial part of the conversation is just informing them what absentee voting is, and usually people look at me with a blank stare, and so what we say is, well, it's an easier way to vote. When folks talk about Bridgeport, we lean into that conversation and talk about how it's an example of our election system properly catching potential fraud.
Campaign door knocking can be a tough business. Most people don't answer the door, and many don't want to talk about politics. But one voter we spoke to said after learning about the measure, she's in favor.
I learned that it's easier, more convenient for myself and an old baby boomer to vote absentee and not have to stand in line and drive someplace and put in my vote.
She also talked about the importance of voting in this election.
It's critical in this election.
Now, one thing folks on both sides of this debate want voters to know is that this constitutional question might be on the back of your ballot. So check your entire ballot to make sure your voice is heard on this issue. To check your voter registration and find out where and how to vote, you can head to WTNH.com or the News 8 app to view our full voter guide. Live in the New Haven newsroom, I'm Mike Cerulli, News 8.
All right, Mike, thank you.